Have you ever spent years building something, maybe your reputation, your career, or just your own character, only to realize that you could lose it all in a single second? It's scary, isn't it? We like to think we are strong. We tell ourselves, I would never steal, or I would never betray a friend. But honesty is easy when you are comfortable. The real test comes when you are desperate, when you are alone, and when a life-changing opportunity is sitting right in front of you, just waiting to be taken. Today, I want to tell you a story about a man who faced that exact moment. It's a story about the weight of our choices and how one small crack in our values can shatter our entire future. Our story takes us back to a quiet, dusty village where a young man named Jake lived. Jake wasn't famous, and he certainly wasn't rich. In fact, his life was a daily battle. Imagine waking up every morning not knowing if you'll eat dinner that night. That was Jake. He was a hard worker, though. He would walk miles looking for odd jobs, fixing fences, chopping wood, anything to earn a few copper coins. Despite his empty stomach and patched-up clothes, Jake had one thing he was proud of: his integrity. He walked with his head high. He believed that if he kept his hands clean and his heart pure, good things would eventually come. But as the years went by, that belief started to wear thin. One evening, the sun was setting, painting the sky in deep purples and oranges. Jake was walking home, tired and defeated. He hadn't found any work that day. His pockets were empty and his spirit was crushed. He was just kicking a stone along the path when a voice called out from the shadows of the trees. "Excuse me, young man. Could you spare a moment?" Jake stopped. Standing there was an elderly man. He looked ancient, with a face full of wrinkles and a back hunched over from age. But what caught Jake's eye wasn't the man, it was what lay at his feet: 3 massive stuffed burlap sacks. They looked incredibly heavy. The old man pointed a shaking finger at the bags. "I need to get to the town on the other side of the river," he rasped. "But my old bones can't manage this load. I can carry 2 if I strain myself, but this third one, it's impossible for me. If you help me carry it, I will pay you 3 gold coins." 3 gold coins. For Jake, that was a fortune. That was months of rent and food. Without hesitating, Jake nodded. "I'll help you, sir." He bent down to lift the bag, and he nearly fell over. It was shockingly heavy. It felt like he was lifting a boulder. Jake grunted. "What in the world is in this? It feels like lead." The old man smiled faintly and said, "Ah, that one is full of bronze. That is why it weighs so much." Jake adjusted the strap on his shoulder. It dug into his skin, but the promise of the gold coins kept him moving. They began to walk. The journey was slow. The old man moved at a snail's pace, and Jake had to match his rhythm. As they walked, silence surrounded them, but Jake's mind was loud. He watched the old man. He thought, "He's struggling so much. I'm doing a good deed." At this point, Jake was just happy to be helpful. He felt like an honest worker earning his keep. After miles of walking, the air grew cooler as they approached a wide, rushing river. The water was high and the current looked strong. Jake, being young and fit, didn't hesitate. He stepped into the cold water, fighting the current, and made it to the other bank with the heavy bag of bronze. He turned around, expecting the old man to follow. But the old man was sitting on the bank, breathing heavily, looking at the treacherous water. "I can't do it," the old man shouted across the river. "Young man, please, come back and carry 1 more for me. I will double your pay." Jake was tired. His shoulders ached, but he waded back across the river. He picked up the second bag, and as he lifted it, he realized it was even heavier than the first. "This feels different," Jake muttered. "That's because it's filled with silver," the old man said calmly. Jake looked at the bag, then at the old man. Silver. That was serious wealth. A strange thought flickered in Jake's mind. I could just leave him here. But he shook his head. No, he wasn't a thief. He was Jake, the honest worker. He took the bag across the river. He was tired, wet, and exhausted, but his conscience was clear. He was still the hero of his own story. Finally, they reached the foot of a steep, rocky hill. The town was just on the other side, but the old man collapsed on a rock. He looked up at Jake with watery eyes. "I cannot climb," he whispered. "My legs are gone. Please, Take the last bag, carry it over the hill for me. I will follow slowly." Jake reached for the third bag, and when he pulled it, the sound that came from inside wasn't the clanking of bronze or the dull thud of stones. It was the distinct, beautiful chime of gold coins against gold coins. The old man looked Jake in the eye. "This bag is full of gold. It is my life savings. I am trusting you, young man. Do not leave me behind." Jake nodded. "I am not a thief, old man." He threw the bag over his shoulder and started climbing. But as he got higher and the old man became a tiny dot below, the demons in Jake's mind woke up. He sat down halfway up the hill to catch his breath. He touched the bag. He felt the round shapes of the coins through the fabric. He thought, "That old man is weak. He might die before he even reaches the top. And here I am, young, strong, and poor. Why does he need this gold? He's lived his life. My life is just starting." This is where the story shifts. It's almost like the lazy son in the magic coin story you might have heard, where the opportunity for easy money poisons the mind. Jake looked back. No one was watching, just the wind and the trees. He thought, "I could disappear. I could go to another city. I could be a king." The voice of honesty in his head was screaming, "Don't do it!" But the voice of greed whispered louder. In a moment of madness, Jake made his choice. He didn't wait for the old man. He stood up and began to run. He ran away from the old man, away from the town, and away from his integrity. Jake ran until his lungs burned. He found an abandoned hut deep in the woods, safe from prying eyes. His hands were shaking with excitement. He was rich. He had the bronze, the silver, and the gold. He ripped open the first bag, the bronze one. Stones. His heart skipped a beat. He ripped open the silver bag. Rocks. Useless gray rocks. Panic set in. He grabbed the gold bag, the one that chimed so beautifully. He tore it open. Stones and broken pieces of glass that made the jingling sound. There was no gold, no silver, no bronze, just heavy, useless weight. But then he saw a piece of parchment paper at the bottom of the gold bag. He picked it up with trembling fingers. It read, "I am not a beggar. I am the king of this land. I have no children, and I am dying. I was looking for an heir, someone strong enough to carry the burden of a kingdom, but honest enough not to steal it. I set this trap to see who was worthy. The stones represent the heavy burden of ruling. If you had waited for me at the top of the hill, you would have inherited my entire kingdom, not just a bag of gold. But you ran. You chose the weight of the stones over the weight of the crown." Jake fell to his knees, screaming in frustration. He hadn't just lost the gold, he had lost a destiny he didn't even know existed. You see, friends, this isn't just a fairy tale. It's a life-changing story for anyone who thinks shortcuts are the answer. We often look for success motivation in the wrong places, thinking that wealth comes from luck or trickery. But this wisdom story teaches us that true worth is built on character. When no one is watching, that is when you are truly tested. Let this be an inspiring story that guides you. Positive thinking combined with integrity is the only way to win. And always remember, life lessons like these are often learned the hard way. Don't be like Jake. If this story touched your heart or made you think about your own choices, please do me a small favor. Hit that like button. It really helps get this message out to people who need to hear it. And if you want more stories that feed your soul and open your mind, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Until next time, stay honest, stay strong.